Hey guys, I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. I just want to thank you for your support and your messages and saying hey, and a bit burnt out, a bit run down, a bit overwhelmed. It's been a busy year already and I feel shot. I'm finding it hard to keep it together as an autistic guy, an autistic husband, an autistic dad, an autistic kid, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on. So I'm not really up for making content at the moment, but something happened really recently and I really want to share it. So I guess all I can say is I haven't showered and done my hair and got dressed and set up lights and made things look good. It's just me sitting on the carpet, on the ground in a room with some sun coming through. So I'm sorry if I look like a crazy, wacky professor. It doesn't sound as good as usual. It doesn't look whatever. This is a really important experience. And I'm not even really talking very well at the moment. I'm sorry. So if I rant or I don't make sense, yeah, I apologize. Anyway. This will only take a few minutes and it's a really important thing to say, okay? If it wasn't for this one experience I'm about to share with you, I wouldn't even be doing any content right now. I'm gonna do this and then I'm out. Anyway, so, as you know, I've got a autistic son who's now 8. And it's Mother's Day coming up here in Australia, okay? So the school had like a Mother's Day get-together, right? Where the mums and the kids go to school an hour before school starts, or like 8 o'clock. They have like a morning tea or something. I don't know, a get together. Cool. First thing I think is, oh God, do they do that on Father's Day? Because I don't think I can do that. Can you imagine? Going to school, number one, that's trigger. And number two, a room full of other men or parents, all socially interacting and talking and kids around. And that's not a good scenario. Anyway, my wife, my beautiful, amazing neurotypical wife, took my son to school for the Mother's Day thing. Now, my wife called me straight after this happened. And her first words were, well, that was a shitstorm. And great description. And what she said basically was, our 8-year-old autistic son, who the school well and truly know is autistic, went to an indoor event. So it was at an indoor room at the school. I don't think it's necessarily a very big room, a smallish room with parents and kids of not just a class of like 20, but like a whole year level or more than one year level, all in one room. She said, when you walk in, just the noise, the discussions, the chat, just the overall vroom just hits you, okay? And it was uncomfortable for her. Can you imagine if you're an 8-year-old autistic dude and you walk in an hour before school when usually you're still chilling on the bus or whatever, and you're met with just the most endlessly over-the-top supply of sensory overload? So it was really, really bad. Now, my wife did the right thing. She said, you know what, let's just get out of here. There's a couple of things. Number one, they were promised that I'll get like a chocolate cupcake or something, okay? Conan knew that. He was looking forward to it. He was talking about it. He wanted one for him, one for mum, whatever. Now, by the time they managed to get anywhere near that area, because he was just so thrown, so disengaged, dysregulated, he needed to get out. By the time they got to that, they were gone. Gone. He missed out. Now, he might be quiet about that, but I can tell you as an autistic person, that will burn in him for the rest of the day. That will affect him for the rest of the day. No one cares. All right, so my wife said, you know what, look, don't worry about it. We'll just go outside. You can show me around your school, just to kind of get him to do something. And they did that for a while, and it was pretty cold, and he said he wants to go back inside, okay? Now, this is a situation here where you tell me what part of that experience was inclusive. What was inclusive about that? They know he's autistic. They try to be inclusive with school. They have an event. There's endless supply of parents, mums, nans, grandparents, whatever, and kids all chattering, and they're entitled to do that. But where was the inclusive side for other kids, for autistic kids? Well, there wasn't. And this is the funniest part. This is the part that made me want to do this chat. And then I'm out. I don't mean out forever. I mean, I'm going. I've got to do nothing. Okay, so by some bizarre stroke of luck or bad luck, my wife bumped into a woman who introduced herself as the new inclusion officer. So someone has a job at the school and their job is inclusion, right? You better be damn good at understanding people with disabilities if you're the inclusion officer. Anyway, my wife's, and I'm proud of her, smartly said when she introduced herself, oh, really? Well, this wasn't a very inclusive event. Now, the inclusion officer was a bit taken aback. but more shocked. Like, what do you mean? And then my wife obviously explained it was an extremely noisy, busy environment. A horribly noisy, busy environment. What do you expect? An autistic kid in the morning before school. How do you think school's going to go now? Like, this is one of the rowdiest little indoor events you could ever put on for a kid who gets set off, as all autistic people do in different ways, by sensory overload. Social interaction, kids, parents, chitter-chatter, noise, loudness, things not being there, things not being available. What part of that do you think is inclusive? The inclusion officer said to my wife, well, he could bring noise-cancelling headphones. Now, my wife explained they work for some people. That's cool. He doesn't like them. As a rule, he doesn't really like them. He doesn't like to use them. And in addition to that, he finds if he does use them, he stands out in a bad way. We're talking about an autistic 8-year-old who already knows the world does not accept him. So then, oh yeah, you know what we should do for inclusion? Let's get him to wear things and make him stand out even more, right? Well, that's not going to work. And then after that, the inclusion person said to my wife, maybe he could try some loop earbuds or whatever. Now, I get there's certain types of earbuds, and maybe there's like certain types of earbuds that have different levels and things, and somehow they're like serving the needs of autistic kids, and autistic parents love them and think they're amazing. You know, whatever. I mean, if they work for you guys, fantastic. They don't work for me. They don't work for my son. Okay, they're just it's a bit like, you know, you get a cake just for the day and it's one price. You get a cake for a wedding and it's a different price. You get earbuds for a dude, it's one price. You get autistic earbuds and I'm like, whatever. Anyway, I'm cool if they work for you or your child, awesome. They don't work for our son, right? So here's my point. Here's what got me really, really upset and angry and why I had to do content. And I'm obviously dysregulated without even showering, doing my hair, making myself blah, 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 blah. You know, probably the best video I've ever done. People are going to say, well, thanks for nothing, guys. thanks for nothing. Anyway, this is what rattled me, okay? Inclusion isn't getting people with disabilities or differences to do the work on how they should be included. That's exclusion. If you choose to be inclusive by saying, well, he could wear some headphones, right? He could wear noise-cancelling headphones to an event where you're supposed to, talk to your mum and people. That's getting him to do the inclusion, but it's exclusion. It's put on the headphones, that will block you out, exclude you from the event, but you can still be here, right? Or loops. So let's be clear, and I'm sorry I'm angry and dysregulated. If you want to be an inclusion officer, or if the world want to make it a better place for people with disabilities, autistic people, inclusion starts with you. Inclusion does not start with the people who have the disability. They have been very clear if they've disclosed what their differences are, what their needs are, then it is up to you. You as a society, you as a school, you as a workplace, you as family, friends, you as an inclusion officer, you do the work. How can you make the event more inclusive? Maybe there's a quieter room and area with a smaller tray of cupcakes so Conan doesn't miss out. And a quiet place he and his mum and the mums of other kids who I know are similar differences can go in a quieter space with just a little section of food designed for them in a space that's inclusive. He gets a cupcake and he gets to safely talk with him and a few little friends in a quieter place, and he goes, yep, I feel included. I feel like I got to do Mother's Day with my mum. I'm included. Saying come into the noisy room, put on your goddamn headphones and shut up about missing out on the cupcakes is not inclusive. It's bloody exclusive. And I'm so sick of people, I'm getting over the top, I'm sorry. I'm so sick of people saying they're being inclusive by getting people with disabilities to do all the work. It's not our job. If you want to be inclusive, you do it. What can you do to change in your environment to help everyone feel comfortable? What can you do? How can you fix this? And it's not rocket science. A smaller room with a little stash of cupcakes where some of the kids who are a bit different to others and their parents can go. What, there wasn't any parents there that didn't like the environment that was loud either? Seriously, this is the same in the workplace. Don't say, well, you just put your headphones on and you be quiet. No, hang on. It's not about turning down the lighting. It's not about making sure the speakers aren't loud or putting you in a corner where your desk never hits the light. Like, great, but inclusion is actually telling people, this guy's autistic. He's a bit different. not only will he might wear headphones sometimes, but he might not always come to meetings because I've said there's a meeting coming up impromptu you didn't know about, and I don't think it's appropriate to push that on you. So you keep working, and I'll get back to you with all the details after. Or this woman's autistic, and she might be a bit more upfront and a bit more black and white and a bit more brutal or real or honest. She's not being rude. She's being kind and compassionate in her mind, because as an autistic person, the truth is kindness. Lying is the reverse of kindness. It's being mean. It's wrong, right? But autistic people, how are we supposed to convey that, right? Oh, you're so rude and rude. Inclusion is super important, guys. If an 8-year-old autistic kid can't get a goddamn muffin and spend a few minutes with his mum on Mother's Day experience, then there's nothing inclusive about that. And what chance does our 8-year-old son have? If we can't even fix it there, forget about me in the workplace. Forget about, women in the workplace. Inclusion is not the responsibility of the person with the disability. Inclusion is the responsibility of the wider community. It's not about it being easy or hard. It's about either you want to include people like us that are different or you don't. But don't tell us you're including us by telling us put on headphones or put in earbuds. No, shut up. Sorry, I'm out. Done.